Ripple announces one of its most bullish quarterly reports. RWA continues to be the hottest sector right now, and will the bull run continue into 2026? This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when we drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, AltcoinBuzzIO, and as always, it's not financial advice, and wish you the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Alright guys, so today Bitcoin is continuing the slow bleed down as we wait for FOMC tomorrow on Wednesday. We are pretty much just waiting to see what will happen with the interest rates and how Powell will talk at the meeting, if he's dovish or hawkish. Pretty much right now, everyone expects there to be no rate cut. At about, I think it's 98% expect no rate cut. But in the meeting afterwards, depending on how he talks, it could signal, a potential rate cut sooner or later. And that's pretty much what people are waiting for to either buy or to sell equities and Bitcoin. So right now, we're pretty much just slowly dripping down. I do expect us, before we go up to this next range, I do expect probably a sweep of these lows. You see all these lows built up. We have all these wicks here. So at the very least, I expect something like this where we come down to around $91,000 before we then head up. So I do expect that at the very least if we are going to continue higher. But that is if we're going to continue higher. I do think it's possible that, maybe we have some bad news. Maybe they don't want to cut rates as quickly. And then maybe it's possible we drip down a little bit lower here, maybe into the high 80s and then come back up. But it really depends on what happens at this next meeting and what happens with interest rates and as well as the stock market as well. So right now, pretty much just a slow bleed, not much to update on for Bitcoin right now. Then we have Eric Trump saying that banks need to embrace crypto if they want to survive.
What's the currency conversion rate between the US dollar, and here? If you trust the person on the other side and can you communicate with that person efficiently, and how slow is the SWIFT transfer system going to be? And how many fees are going to be taken by the issuing bank and by the receiving bank and by the currency conversion and whoever processes the technology? And what crypto does, it actually makes that whole process kind of redundant, right? And that's why I kind of really believe that if the banks don't embrace this, if they don't buy into it, if they don't embrace crypto right now, they're just going to be extinct because you're actually eliminating their function. It's almost like old school film in a camera. I mean, in the digital age, you just no longer need it, so it stops being used. And I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of big financial institutions. They're literally just going to stop being used because the system that they're implementing is slower, more costly, and obviously not innovative. Frankly, it hasn't changed since, the 1970s? Yes. Now, small updates, but I mean, crypto, in terms of the technology, is advancing 100 times as fast as these big banks. They can't keep up with the people in this room.
And then we have Raoul Paul saying Bitcoin is going much higher by Q1 2026. So he expects the banana zone, which is his famous term, to extend into Q1 2026, maybe even Q2.
It's not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase one of the banana zone, banana number one. The corrective zone, banana number two comes. Another correction, banana number three. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020, 2021. Off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looks very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats. Don't fuck this up. Don't lose control of your tokens. Don't use leverage. Don't get your wallet hacked. Just sit with it. Be careful. Don't get FOMO. Do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of correction zone. That's going to be harder because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, "Is it over?" And you'll definitely be sure it's over, and everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well.
And then, like I just mentioned, the Fed FOMC meeting is tomorrow. The rate cuts are unlikely, but watch Powell's speech. Dovish comments could send stocks, Bitcoin, and crypto much higher. But like I said, if this meeting is dovish, let's say, I do expect we'll still probably take out these stops before going higher. So during the meeting, maybe we'll have this sell off, which will, induce panic and people will sell, and then we'll continue higher. So at the very least, I do expect these stops to be taken out, but it's just possible that we get some dovish comments tomorrow, and then we do go higher. So that is a possibility still. And then moving on to some Cardano news, we have a Bitcoin OS. So Bitcoin OSs, we did it. On May 4th, 2025, we successfully demoed the first bridgeless transfer of Bitcoin between Bitcoin and Cardano mainnet, performed with Sundial Protocol and ADA handle using our all-new Unchained token standard. We also have the Cardanians saying yesterday marked a huge milestone for Cardano. Bitcoin OS team completed the first bridgeless transaction of 1 Bitcoin between Bitcoin, Cardano, and back. IOG will show their Bitcoin x Cardano demo integration at the end of May at Bitcoin 2025. And on top of that, multiple Cardano teams are already building for both Cardano and Bitcoin. Even many wallets now support both ADA and Bitcoin, a beginning of something huge. So big news for Cardano. Now Cardano, pretty much like we said last week, is slowly dripping down here. We wanted it to reclaim this level here around 73 cents, but it wasn't strong enough. But the whole market's kind of doing the whole same thing right now. So we're not expecting this to be too much of an outperformer. I do expect us to come down to the 61 cent level. If we do hold here in correlation with probably Bitcoin around $91,000, we could have a bounce here, and this is where we could go higher. But likewise, if we do break down below here, below this 57, 58 cent level here, I do expect us to probably retest this level down around 46-ish cents, and then we can continue higher from there, hopefully, because that is our next level of support. But we really don't want to break underneath of that, because Cardano is one of the coins that pumped the hardest after the strategic altcoin reserve announcement. So it is one we don't really want to see retrace this entire pump. This was the announcement here, so we don't really want to go too below 61 cents. Otherwise, the market is priced in that really doesn't matter anymore. So we don't really want that to happen. We want to hold above this level here around 61 cents. And then moving on, we have the Real Asset Watch saying, breaking, tokenized RWAs have soared past $22 billion in value, up 10% in just 30 days. Ethereum leads the charge with 6.5 billion, ZK Sync close behind at 2.2 billion, which is interesting because you never really hear too much about ZK Sync these days, but it's in second place in RWAs. RWA bags will print. Are you ready? We also have Crypto Goose saying Ethereum is about to get a major UX upgrade. Pectra goes live on May 7th, which is tomorrow. Yeah. 1 transaction swaps, bundle actions. You can deposit, borrow, and swap. DApp spend caps, seedless recovery, pay gas with tokens, and biometric approvals. This is a massive upgrade. Don't underestimate ETH. This is kind of like one of those quality of life upgrades. We've had all these updates before where it's like, oh, cool, it's going to do this thing. But this is like one of those quality of life updates that you see on like video games or something like that, where it just makes things nicer to have, like one transaction swaps, bundled actions, pay gas with tokens. That's such a big thing, having to have ETH in a new wallet. The amount of times I've had to send friends ETH to their brand new wallet so that they could then send transactions out. Big quality of life improvement for Ethereum there. Then we have Degen Wolf saying ETH accumulation phase is going crazy. There's no reason not to see Bitcoin over $10,000. RWAs will mainly be on ETH. Stable coins are all-time high on ETH. BlackRock wants to tokenize everything on ETH. Vitalik wants to scale to layer 1. And Base and other layer 2s are entering stage 1. We can see the ETH inflows in the accumulation addresses here. A lot of accumulation in the last quarter for ETH, even though price has been down. Pretty much like we said before, we don't want to get too excited here. I'm not blaming ETH on this one, but it is coming into resistance here and then rolling over like the rest of the market. So not looking the best right here. I do expect us to probably come down towards at least 1659 again, but probably down towards these lows around 1400 because it's just making a lower high and it's continuing to come down. You can see, the pattern just continues to make lower highs and lower lows. So unfortunately, if you are an ETH bull, you're going to be able to get it for cheaper. But I don't expect this to break out anytime soon unless there's some amazing bullish news at the FOMC tomorrow. Then moving on, we have Arthur saying the Q1 2025 XRP market report just dropped. It's possibly the most bullish update Ripple has ever published. The SEC gone, institutional adoption exploding, XRP price outperforming ETH, Bitcoin, and Solana. Let's break it down in this Q1 thread. So Ripple is retiring the XRP market report as we know it. Why? Because their transparency was used against them, especially by the former SEC. They're moving to a new format, but full transparency. Wallets, updates, ecosystem will continue. XRP outperformed almost everything in Q1, while ETH and Solana dropped and Bitcoin stayed flat. XRP was up nearly 50% at its February peak and hit $3.40, a price not seen since 2018. The XRP Bitcoin ratio also keeps climbing. Institutional adoption is on fire. Franklin Templeton filed for a spot XRP ETF, CME launched XRP futures. Brazil just approved an XRP ETF. Volatility Shares has 3 ETF filings, and the XRP ETFs pulled $214 million year to date, almost flipping ETH. And as for the SEC versus Ripple, it's over. The SEC withdrew its appeal. Ripple cut its cross appeal. The final fine is $50 million, down from $125 million. The injunction is being vacated, and the industry can now move forward, and XRP leads the way. Ripple also acquired Hidden Road for $1.25 billion, one of the biggest mergers and acquisition deals in crypto. Hidden Road will use RLUSD as collateral, and XRP Ledger for post-trade ops, FX swaps, and repo. Institutional-grade blockchain integration is here. Final thoughts, XRP is no longer the underdog. It's becoming the blueprint for compliant, institutional, and performant crypto infrastructure. So XRP is at that zone, actually, that we were looking at a couple days ago, where we wanted to come down to this zone to make this higher low, and we are pretty much about there now. We're looking for around 205. Now, hopefully, Bitcoin can make a comeback in the next day or so if we have good FOMC. But since we're here already at the support, I don't expect the support just to hold like this. I expect probably some kind of dip below here and then reclaim of this level. So maybe if Bitcoin does go down to around $91,000, we'll have a dip into around $1.90-ish maybe, and then hopefully quickly reclaim this. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see it come back up here and then reject from here, because then we're probably going down towards $1.50. And unless you're someone who wants to stack a lot more spot, we probably don't want it to go down there. So hopefully with FOMC, there's a bit of a sell-off, and then we can actually quickly reclaim this level, which actually would be even better because you can put your stops even tighter. If you were to trade this range to range, you could target this high around 260 and put your stops right below this little deviation. Maybe it's 190, whatever it might be. So it'd actually be even better for a trade for XRP if that did happen. But we just don't want to see it reject from here and then continue lower, because then it's coming down towards this 150 range. But overall, XRP is still looking decent, better than Ethereum, better than Cardano right now. Then we also have Plume. So Stablecoin Intern says tokenized RWAs are a failure. Everyone's talking about BlackRock's $2 billion BUIDL fund like it's the future, but barely anyone can use it. It's TradFi in a crypto costume. Plume is doing the opposite, on-chain assets with real utility. Now, most RWA projects treat the blockchain as a permissionless database. They issue tokens, limit access, and call it progress. BUIDL is held by just 44 wallets, and a single address controls over 25% of its supply. Smart contracts need approval to integrate. That's not DeFi, that's corporate tokenization. Stablecoins are the exception that proves the rule. They didn't gain traction by copying TradFi. Stablecoins solve crypto-native problems, price stability, liquid trading pairs, and fast settlement. Only after proving their value on-chain did stablecoins see broader adoption. RWAs need to earn their place in the same way. And that's what Plume is building. It's a blockchain designed for usable RWAs, not tokenized wrappers, but assets that can move, integrate, and be used inside DeFi from the start. There are over 180 projects with $4 billion in committed assets. The testnet has processed more than 280 million transactions. Early applications include GAIB, Mineral Vault, and MatrixDocs, each exploring new ways to bring RWAs on-chain. Tokenization is not the breakthrough, utility is. Plume flips the model by designing for crypto-native demand instead of institutional optics. Says Stablecoin Intern, who is a researcher at Messari Crypto. Now, Plume is one of the ones where it's actually a newer coin, and it was looking good, but it has pretty much sold off pretty heavily this morning, actually. Back to this level of support here. Now, you want this level of support to hold here, but I don't know if it's going to hold right now. I think we might be coming down to this next level of support-ish, around 15 cents, because if Bitcoin is going to continue to go down, which it looks like it might be right now, I don't know if this level of support is going to hold. Maybe we have a deviation and then a reclaim, which would be great, but I don't know if this is necessarily going to hold. I think we might come back down here because I don't know if the market is just ready to go up yet. So those are the levels I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for us to either deviate, then reclaim this level, and then that's a good long or trade or spot buy, or you wait for it to just come down here as an underside retest, and you pick some up around 15-ish cents. That's what I'm looking for Plume right now for levels. Pretty much just waiting to see what happens right now. Not looking to buy this this falling knife right here. So that's Plume right now. And then lastly, we have Multibank, MAG, and Maverick Inc., the world's largest $3 billion RWA tokenization deal. So continuing in the realm of RWA today, Multibank Group, the world's largest financial derivatives institution based in Dubai, has signed a landmark $3 billion real-world asset tokenization agreement with the UAE-based real estate giant MAG and blockchain infrastructure provider Maverick. The deal represents the largest RWA tokenization initiative globally to date and highlights the upcoming launch of Multibank's native utility token, MBG. The partnership will bring MAG's ultra-luxury real estate projects, including the Ritz-Carlton Residences, Dubai, Creekside, and Katura Reserve, onto the blockchain via Multibank IO's regulated RWA marketplace. Once tokenized, these assets will be available to global investors and will generate daily yield for holders directly on the platform. MAG is one of the UAE's most prominent developers and will contribute its premium real estate portfolio for tokenization. Maverick will handle the blockchain issuance and DeFi integrations, while Multibank Group will manage regulatory compliance, liquidity, and governance with the MBG token at the core of the system. The announcement comes amid renewed interest in RWA tokenization, which we've seen a lot of recently. And on April 30th, BlackRock filed to create digital ledger technology shares from one of the firm's money market funds, which will leverage blockchain technology and maintain a mirror record of shared ownership for investors. So big things happening for RWA across the entire market, across ETH, Solana, like we talked about yesterday. A lot of things happening in RWA, and it looks like the market is starting to have a little bit of a sell-off before New York opened today. So like I said, I expect we probably take out these stops here below this 91.7 zone. At some point, we're probably going to do this before we head up. That's pretty much the only way we can get liquidity before breaking through this major barrier here, this major resistance around $96,000 to $98,000. That's the only way I think we're going to break above and then reclaim this level. But once we do that, I think we're going to head to new all-time highs pretty soon. So once we sweep this liquidity, hopefully we're off to the races. But that's the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow.